at that. I can't get my camera exposure sorted, but hello! We are back at Pebbles Beach. It's gonna be a nice beach day. Look at that. Look at that view.
Not like this sail. I've never sailed to this, but I'm sure.
Oh my goodness. Huh? This is my problem. I'm gonna get so burnt. Oh gosh. Oh. Look at this water. This is insane. Yo. Look at how clear this water is. Look at that. That's insane. Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. I have no idea what time it is actually. I have no idea. It just feels fantastic. So myself and Phoebe, my other cabin crew, our birthdays are like 5 days apart in February. So I know we both have never been on the catamaran before. The other crew were telling us about this really cool catamaran experience you can do here. So I think we're going to try to save that and do that for our birthdays, because that's also a couple of weeks before we both leave and go home. So it'll be like our big finale of being in Barbados, is doing this catamaran. Apparently you get like the whole day out. You get unlimited food and drinks and all these things. You can snorkel with turtles and, you know, see the shipwrecks and stuff. So I'm really excited to save that experience for that day. But also obviously, but I think there's also other little boat rides we can do just to go see the shipwrecks and stuff that I definitely want to try to do before that. I just walked into the ocean and these little fish, so I quickly ran back to get the camera to show you guys these little fish. Where did they go? Oh, here they are, here they are. This is amazing.
Side by side we sway there in all the colors. Summer love, lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the colors. Summer love.
A chicken sandwich, chicken burger. Have some wedges. We've just been hanging out, reading our books, listening to our audiobooks. The rest of the crew have been tanning while I've been trying to avoid the sun at all costs, but I can already feel that I have an unwanted tan at this point. The sunset looks stunning. Next time I come here, I want to try paddle boarding because it looks so fun. I know I'm not going to be able to stand on the board, but I'd like to try. Even if I stay on my knees the whole time, I think it will be a lot of fun.
Remember when we were getting nowhere fast, when the garden stopped giving back. Honeysuckle, fresh cut grass. I could really use some stuff like that.
Red's about to snorkel and go see the turtles. Have fun. You look so cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There he goes. I'm so serious about finding these bloody turtles. I keep seeing a turtle going underwater, but I don't know if the camera can see it or not. Because there's a lot of flying fish near us, so I'm guessing the turtles are here trying to catch fish. I can't stand in this part of the ocean. It's very deep. Chasing after these turtles. I'm becoming a water baby. Happy
Thank God I
birthday.
see your name over and over again.
We're off on another trip. I think tonight we're sleeping in Guyana, but we're first doing an Antigua turn, and then tomorrow we come back from Guyana, do another Antigua turn before sleeping in Kingston and Jamaica again. No, the following day again an Antigua flight, or maybe it's a St. Kitts, I actually can't remember. And then sleeping in Guyana again. And then on day 4, we'll just fly the one leg from Guyana back to Bridgetown. Also, it is the 18th of December, so I'm getting festive. Let me show you. I've got this little red bow that we found at a store the other day, just so that we start looking festive. I do also have Christmas earrings, but I'll probably wear those on like, if I'm flying on like Christmas Eve or something, I'll show you guys. We're gonna leave here in the next 30 minutes, so I'm gonna quickly grab a cup of coffee, and then, why am I so overexposed? Yo, a little bit better. I'm gonna quickly make a cup of coffee and then get going. Let's have a good trip.
The sun is setting.
Antigua. We just got to Antigua. We came with 52 passengers. We're supposed to go back to Bridgetown and then through to Georgetown, Guyana to sleep there. But it seems like they want to add another sector to our pairing. So we don't even know where that could be. We just know that they want us to fly somewhere else first before going back to Bridgetown, I think. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, we're on the 700. I don't think I've shown you guys the aircraft yet, but this is the 700. Toilet in the back. It's just like a little bit bigger than the 100. It has 19 rows instead of 14 like the 100. And the emergency exit is at row 14. Whereas on the 100 it's at row 8, I think. Good morning, friends. Yesterday when I last spoke to you, we were in Antigua. Guys, when I tell you, I think we were supposed to be done at 8 p.m. last night, or 8:20 or something like that. We got to the hotel at like 1:15 in the morning, so that was fun. In Antigua, they took about 2.5 hours before we could go, so to board passengers and to figure out where everyone's going. They said that apparently one of their aircraft had a technical, and that aircraft was going from, where was it going from? Oh, it was going from St. Vincent to Antigua, and then it ended up diverting to Barbados because they have more technical support in Barbados. So then, of course, the passengers that were supposed to leave Antigua couldn't, and so they had to merge 2 flights together. The first one was actually supposed to depart at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So we had passengers that had been at the airport since maybe 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, who I felt so terrible for having a coffee. And then they were merged with our passengers that were supposed to only leave at like 5 p.m. But then it ended up being a little bit oversold, which meant they had to leave a handful of passengers and luggage, obviously. So I guess that's what the issue was. Like, that was quite a process for them to figure out. Like, it took them so long. Yeah, but anyway, there was just a huge delay. So even just bringing the last 6 passengers took about 40 minutes for them to do. I don't know what the issue was. I don't know why it took so long. I obviously don't know the ins and outs of how things work at the gate, but it just took an incredibly long time. It could have all been avoided. We had a similar delay last week when I wasn't vlogging, and then we end up with a cabin full of angry, upset passengers. Originally, yesterday we were supposed to only do the flight from Bridgetown to Antigua, back to Bridgetown, and then come to Guyana, spend the night. We ended up flying to Antigua and back, and then having to fly to St. Vincent because there was other stranded passengers that needed to get to St. Vincent. So we took them all of our flights were full except the one from St. Vincent back to Bridgetown was empty. So that was so nice. We actually had a moment to like eat and stuff. It was like 11 p.m. but it was fine. We got to eat, we got to breathe and husa a little bit. The flight is only 25 minutes long, so you know, not a lot of time, but still a decent amount of time. I'm grateful for it nonetheless. And then we brought passengers here to Georgetown, Guyana, and that flight was what, like 55 minutes maybe. Again, boarding took a long time. They gave me a manifest that said we had, the manifest said that we had 62 passengers when we had 63. And so they didn't know who they didn't know was on board, if that makes sense. Like they didn't know who the extra passenger was. At first the lady was like, she's gonna go check on the system, she's gonna go check. That took like half an hour, didn't know who it was, couldn't find them. So then I literally had to ask every passenger to take out their boarding pass, and I had to manually walk down the aisle and tick off their names on the manifest, because we're not going to take an incorrect manifest. We're not taking incorrect paperwork. Luckily, the gentleman who they couldn't find was seated at row 3, so I only had to get through like 7 passengers to find him. I don't know if you've ever seen like the big boarding pass that you get. The side that the gate agents usually take the large side, and then they give you that little piece on the side. So that big side, they scan it and it ends up on the manifest, and then the small side they keep with you. So this passenger had his whole full boarding pass, which meant that they hadn't scanned him in. So of course he wasn't on the manifest, but he was on the flight, and he was on the right flight, but he just wasn't on the manifest. So luckily we found him pretty quickly once we started doing it manually. Baggage also was taking a while. I don't know what they were trying to figure out. I think they were trying to see who was being accepted on the flight and who wasn't before they loaded the baggage. So then after we got the correct paperwork, we had to wait for them to figure their stuff out. And then of course they have to like give the pilot's documentation to say how many kgs or tons or whatever of cargo and baggage we have in the back, so that the pilots can set up the computer of the aircraft so that we can have a safe takeoff. So it was just a whole thing. Everything was just taking longer than necessary, basically, is what I'm trying to say. We ended up landing at 12:15, I think, and then we got to the hotel just after 1. I think our flight this morning is supposed to take off at like 9 or 10, but we need to have 10 hours in our hotel before we can operate again. So that's what we're trying to do now. We are going to leave at 11 a.m. I got the same room that I got last time. In fact, even last week when I was here, last week I was operating again, but I wasn't vlogging, but I came here again. And they keep kind of allocating us the same rooms, but they give it to different people. So we just keep swapping with each other. And I'm like, oh, just give me my room again, please. I like it. It's downstairs. It's so convenient. I'm right next to the kitchen. I can quickly grab a coffee while I get ready. But yeah, I woke up at 8:30 and I was on the phone with Keegan. And then I just had a shower and I'm going to start putting my face on because I have about an hour before I need to be out of here. So I'm going to take my time, catch up on a little bit of Vlogmas. That's something I haven't been able to do at all. I don't know how I would be doing Vlogmas if I had actually said I was going to do it, because I can barely follow other people's Vlogmas and like watch and keep up with that. So if I were having to actually vlog, that would just be insane. So hopefully you guys are enjoying just the normal weekly vlogs out of me, because that's all I've got to give at this point.
Whoa, oh, oh. Da, 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 oh, oh, oh. Da, 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 oh, oh, oh. Da, 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 da. Making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new.
Let's see if our parrot friend is in the tree again. It is so hot here and I'm having a hot cup of coffee. Not a good idea. Ah, he's here, guys. He's here again. Oh my gosh, hello. Good morning. Hi, my guy. He's so cute. Hello. It's crazy, guys. And he's wild, but he just chills here. This is his home. So cool. Is this not the biggest medium-sized Coke you've ever seen in your life? This is my phone. That's what they call medium here. It's crazy. It's huge. we got Burger King on our way home because it's just been one of those days. Can't remember the last time I spoke to you, but let me see if I can find my paperwork, because then that'll tell me what I did, because obviously with my memory and the day I've had, can't remember a damn thing. So we flew from Guyana to Bridgetown, and then they told us we were doing a triangle. We were supposed to go from Bridgetown to St. Vincent to Antigua, and Antigua back, and then we were supposed to get off. So it was meant to just be 4 legs today. We ended up going Bridgetown to St. Vincent with 56 passengers. When we got to St. Vincent, they told us only after we landed, when the pilots requested fuel, that they did not have fuel, which is just insane to me, because why didn't you tell us before we left Bridgetown? Because you're literally an island. Like, where else are we supposed to refuel if we can't refuel in St. Vincent? Like, that's wild to me. So luckily, we still had enough fuel to go back to Bridgetown, because St. Vincent is only about 25 minutes away from here, flying time. Whereas we were supposed to go from St. Vincent to Antigua, and that was going to be about 55 minutes flying time. We didn't have enough fuel to go all the way to Antigua. So we had to go from Bridgetown to St. Vincent, and then back to Bridgetown to fuel up to continue to Antigua, if that makes sense. And we had passengers on board that came with us from Guyana, and their final destination was Antigua. So those poor passengers, instead of just going from Guyana to Bridgetown and then having to stop in St. Vincent to get to Antigua, which was the normal schedule, which was also the St. Vincent stop wasn't part of their ticket. They didn't know that they were going to have to stop there. Now, instead of just that, which is already out of the norm and already adding an extra flight on their day, now we had to go St. Vincent back to Bridgetown and then to Antigua. So literally people were on our flight from like 11 a.m. this morning, well 12 o'clock this morning, till about 6 p.m. I think it was really dark by the time we landed in Antigua. So I felt so bad for them. They were just so over it, especially because the St. Vincent flights, we don't do a service because it's 25 minutes long. So we tried to hand out water just to make sure that they were okay. And luckily it was only like maybe 3 or 4 people. But I just felt really, really bad for the passengers. So yeah, we continued to Antigua, and then from Antigua, everybody got off, and we got 56 new passengers coming back to Bridgetown. And then we had to get off after that because we weren't going to be able to do any more flights than that. The other crew, it was supposed to be their day off today and tomorrow, because we were only supposed to come back the day after tomorrow from this whole pairing. But because of all these added sectors, the other crew had to come in now when we landed, which was at about 7:30ish. They came, met us, and they still have to operate flights to, where are they going? I think they're going to St. Vincent and back, and then they're going to Kingston, to Jamaica tonight. So that is not going to be fun. I think they're only going to land there at about 3 o'clock in the morning. I feel terrible for them, but that's what happens, I guess, here. Because, did I tell you guys one of the aircraft had a technical? So because of that technical, that aircraft, I think it's going to take a few days before they fix it. So obviously, we are the ones that have to pick up the slack and have to pick up the extra flights for them. And it's unfortunate because a lot of passengers get on board not understanding that, or not being told that, like nobody explains it to them. They just know that, okay, now we first have to go to St. Vincent before we go to, like, they don't really understand why that's happening. And a lot of them are frustrated because the flights are delayed, which I fully understand. And people were frustrated today as well. But we handled it as best as we could. And at the end of the day, we got them where we needed to go. There was one guy who was like, you guys better be paying us each like $300 for this, because it's so inconvenient. And I was like, sir, I better be getting paid an extra $300 for this. Like, are you kidding? Oh my word. All this extra stuff that we've all had to take on. And I was just like trying to like joke around with him to keep it lighthearted. But then he like rolled his eyes at me and he was like, no, you guys have really inconvenienced us. And I was like, I get it. But usually airlines only pay you out a certain voucher or like money or whatever if your flight has been cancelled and if they aren't able to place you on another flight. But we're still literally currently 5 minutes away from descending into Antigua, which is exactly where you were hoping to get to. So can't really help you there with the $300 stitch, but it is what it is. I don't know. I think it's funny that some people always feel the need to ask for some kind of compensation with this kind of thing, and I feel like I understand why they say it to the flight attendants, but at the same time I feel like if they had just taken a few extra moments, they would understand that saying it to me, like to the flight attendant, it's like talking to a wall, because you're not, we aren't the ones making that decision. We aren't the ones in charge of any of that kind of stuff. So we can't make that kind of a miracle happen, you know? But anyway, we're back home now. We're back in Bridgetown. We have to wait for the other crew to get back tomorrow morning. Or tomorrow, it'll probably be later on in the afternoon tomorrow actually, by the time they get back, because they're still going to need to have a good amount of rest in Jamaica, and then they'll be able to operate back here, and then we can take over and continue with our trip and stuff. So it's a little bit crazy right now. It's very, very tiring though. It is so tiring having to do these flights and having to be so delayed and having to play catch up the entire day essentially. And for just so many things to go wrong. Because even when we did our fuel stop, it's something that shouldn't have taken us more than 15 minutes. And yet we were still so delayed with paperwork and stuff. Like, it was just one of those days. Just seriously, one of those. But somehow I have a feeling it's not going to be the last. I have a feeling this is going to be something that happens more and more often. I actually need to start sitting down and giving you guys some story times. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. Because I've already had like a crazy passenger encounter. Like, one of those encounters where you feel like if someone were recording this, this would definitely end up on like YouTube as like one of those crazy passenger things that happen. It doesn't ever get this bad in South Africa. People never get that bad when I fly back at home. But over here, I think this was like a true introduction into like the holiday flying environment in the US. I'm not technically in the US, but a lot of my passengers are Americans and just like holiday makers coming to the Caribbean, you know. I feel like I'm experiencing a very different type of passenger and just a different type of flying environment than what I'm used to. So vlogging is so incredibly difficult for me here. Like, the flights are so short, and then turnarounds are so quick, and also a lot of our flights are through flights, so I'm not able to just grab the camera and fill you guys in when I have 12 passengers waiting to get on the next flight and wondering why we're not already chop leaving, you know? Anyway, let me stop talking. This is enough talking for me for the day. I am very tired. I'm gonna eat my Burger King. I'm gonna have my very giant medium Coke Zero, have a shower, hop into bed, call it a night.
You give me a sign, give me a sign. Oh, give me a sign, baby, give me a sign. Just give me one more